Becky Streepy from Glue and Glitter, and today we are going to make my super delicious, super decadent vegan eggnog. Before we get to the recipe, I do want to address a question that I anticipate you're going to have, which is, how can you even call this eggnog if there's no egg in it? That's a great question. Traditional eggnog is a creamy drink with nutmeg and cinnamon, and it's thickened with egg. Obviously, vegan eggnog doesn't have any eggs in it, but it does have that same rich creaminess. It has the same notes of vanilla and cinnamon and nutmeg. And so think of me calling this eggnog as sort of a shorthand to kind of let you know what's in the glass. The first thing that you're going to add to your pan is a can of full-fat coconut milk. When I call for coconut milk in this part of the recipe, I'm talking about the kind, not the drinking kind, but the canned kind that you'd use for making like a curry. I also recommend not using light coconut milk in this recipe. The coconut milk really does the heavy lifting as far as thickening the finished drink. Like I mentioned, traditional eggnog has cream in it, it has egg in it to thicken it up. The coconut milk is substituting for all of that in terms of texture. So treat yourself and use a can of full-fat coconut milk for this recipe. Before you add the coconut milk to the pan, you do want to give it a nice vigorous shake. Shaking the can helps combine the solids and liquids in the coconut milk. If you've ever opened a can that's not shaken, you'll notice that the liquid is at the top and the solids are at the bottom. So if you give it a nice good shake before you add it, you're combining everything really well before it hits the pan. You'll have a lot less whisking to do down the road. You'll be glad. The next thing you're adding to the pan is a vegan milk of your choice, not to be confused with the coconut milk that we just added. This time I'm talking about the boxed milk. It comes in cartons in the refrigerator section. I'm using oat milk in this recipe, but you could use soy or almond. You could even use boxed coconut milk, the kind that I just said not to use. You can use it for the second milk in this recipe. I hope that's not confusing. Now it's time to add your sweeteners. In this recipe, I'm using a combination of maple syrup and organic sugar. I really like the flavor that this brings to the drink, but if you have a sweetener that you prefer to use, feel free to sweeten to taste with anything you like. You could use all sugar, all maple syrup, use agave nectar. If stevia is your thing, use that instead. Just make sure that you get it sweetened to your taste. You can always start with a little and add more sweetener at the end if you are going to deviate from the written recipe. All right, now it's time to spice things up. Start by adding 1 teaspoon of nutmeg to the pan, a half teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and then a full tablespoon of vanilla extract. Now that you've added all of your spices and sweeteners to the pan, it's time to turn the stove on. Then it's time to grab your whisk. Whisking is the most important part of this recipe. As you can see, when we added those spices to the pan, they just kind of floated on top of the liquid. That's totally normal. Whisking is what's going to help incorporate those powders into the liquid. So as you're heating, you don't have to whisk constantly for the whole 10 minutes, but you do want to frequently get in there with the whisk. You'll see that you'll be whisking and you'll stop and things will look good, and then you walk away and come back and spices have floated to the top again. So just do a couple of minutes of whisking, go do something else for a minute, and then come back to it. And don't give up. You can use a fork to do the whisking, but an actual whisk is going to be more efficient. It's really up to you how you want to go about it. Now that you've heated your eggnog through and you've whisked the spices in so they're pretty well incorporated, you're ready to serve. You can either serve this with or without a splash of booze. If you are going to go the boozy route, I'd recommend rum or whiskey or bourbon. If you're going to do booze, just add that to your mug first and then ladle the eggnog on top of it. If you're not using alcohol, just ladle that eggnog straight into your mug and you're ready to drink. I hope that this video has answered all of your questions about how to make vegan eggnog. If you have any questions that I didn't answer in this video, feel free to drop them below. I'm happy to help. And don't forget to rate and subscribe. Happy cooking!